Welcome to Macro Code. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing. So today we're going to proceed with our employees, that is a human resource management system. So as you can see, this is our login screen. And on this login screen, we've already connected this to our SQL server. And you can also, so if I just take you through, for those who are new to this series, so I want you to check how our app looks like. So here, if you just click sign in, this is how our app looks like. So you can see we have our employees dashboards, we have distribution, leave applications, employee statistics. So these are some of the dashboards that we have, and we'll be improving as we go. Then if you check on our clients, so we have clients here. So you can create a new client. So if we come here and say new client, so you can say this is a macro code. So this is just a code. Then you can say macro code business solutions limited. So I'll just say here solutions. Then I can provide the address. I can just provide my address here. Phone number, I can provide my phone number. Then email address. So if I click register, then we'll have our client details registered successfully, and you can see we have it here. And you can also edit. So if you just click edit, and you can update it. Then you also have fixed assets. So you can create a fixed asset. I'll say new. I can provide a number here. Then I can say this is a mobile phone. So for the mobile phone, I'll just come here and say computers, or yes, then I can give a serial number. I'll just provide serial number. Then phone model, we can say this is Samsung. Then our employee, we can choose a staff who actually owns this particular phone number. Then you can also select the photo. So I'll just select a photo. Then purchase date, I'll select the date. So if I click create, then we'll have our phone. So you can see here the asset number, our mobile phone number, category, serial number, model, and even the employee. So we also have the employees. Under HR and payroll, we have employees. So here you can add a new employee. So you can say this is Jared. Say this is Opio. Can say this is Mwangi. Then our phone number. Then email address, you can say here mwangi@gmail.com. Then gender, you can select male and female. Country, you can select a list of countries here. Date of birth, you can choose. Then employment date, you can also choose. Then department, you can choose the department. Designation, you can also choose the designation, and the bank. So the bank here, then the bank account number for the staff. Then IBAN, SWIFT code, then NSSF number. Then so NHIF number, so we'll change this. Then email address, I'll say you're testing. Then you say KRA pin. Then passport number, can provide. Employment terms, can select. Disability, if they have disability, then you can provide the certificate, and you can also choose the employee photo. So I'll just do that. So these are some of the details that you can provide on our employees. So if I just click here and say save or register, so you can see our employee details has been registered, and we have, so where is it? we have the employee details somewhere here. Now, I think it's the last record or something. So we can filter this per 100 and you can see all the list of employees that we have. Then you have holidays. So you can register a new holiday. So if you just click new here, you can say Eid filter. Then you can select the start date and the end date. Then description, you can say this is Eid Fitr, or you can say this is Christmas. Then you can also give a description and you can register. So this is also a list of all the holidays that we have. So we also have leave adjustments. So these are leave adjustments, can be positive or negative. So we'll see how this works. Then you also have the leave balances. So the leave balances, these are balances of all the employees' leaves. So we have leaves per employee. So if you can see here, we have employee number, full name, allocated leave days, and also the leave balance. You have the leave periods. So we have these leave periods. You have the leave applications. First thing is the leave types, and also so we have the leave type code, leave type name, the leave days. So this one we should rename it to leave days. Then created on and created by. So if we check here, we have also the leave application. So this leave application, we can see here we have the employee, the leave days, start date, end date. So you can create a new leave application. So you select the employee. So we'll be filtering this and lock it just to ensure that for the person who is logged in, you don't have to choose this. So I'll just select here, then you provide the number of leave days, provide the start date, whether it's a full day or half day, then the leave type, any attachment if it's there, and the notes. Then you register your leave application. So you can see every time you register a leave application, it is sent through an approval workflow. So you'll be able to see that. Then you also have the system users. So we have the users in our application. So you can create a new user. So you can say this is Amon Jeans King. So I'm just providing some names. Then an ID number, email address. I'll say this is Amon. Then the phone number, the username. So I'll just say this is test user. Provide the credentials, and also you can select the role. So you can say this is an office messenger, then I register. So once you register, we were able to even add some options. I think we were not done with this section. Then you also have the roles. So these are roles in the system. So you can create a new role. You can say this is a system. We say this is a HR. You can call it HR officer, and you can register the role. So you see there was an error creating the role. You can say, let's say maybe a driver. So I think we will see why the role is not being created. But once the role is created, then you can see here we have the rights. So you can assign rights to roles. So if I just come here to driver, I think we have the same role, driver. So let's see if we can create a role that is, say, cook. So if I register, yes, that means we cannot have two roles in the system. So we need to have only one role, and that is it. So if you come to our roles here, then you can assign permissions or rights. So if I click assign, then you'll see we have these rights in our system. So these are more of so you can see these are more of modules and sub-modules and some of the actions that can be done. So if I select, I'm able to select all, or I can select specific modules. So you can see, can select specific modules, and that is it. So once you have that, then you can assign it. You are assigning it to specific roles that you just created. So we'll be aligning this and also making it look more good. So if we just click on it, you can also, if you want to assign all, if you click on that, then it will assign everything. But for this case, you can just assign specific modules. So that is how it works. Then, and then you can just click register. So this will register now the permissions. So you'll be able to see how we are going to farm up. Then you have the profiles. So these are now system roles, system tasks. And this is the one that helps us to control the permissions. Then you have the audit logs. So everything that we are doing is being audited. So that means when you create a record, we have the user, we have the audit type, the table name, and the timestamp. So if you say here, for example, view, you're able to see this is the user details, the audit type, table name, timestamp. If this record was deleted, these are the old values and the affected columns, then you're able to see that. So if it was an update, let's see, for example, an update. So let's see, update. Yes. So for example, this, if I say view, you'll be able to see we have the username, the audit type, we have the table name, we have the old values. This was an update, so we have old values and the new values. So that's how it works. Now, what I want us to do, we also have the administration module. So we have the approval entries. So every time a record is sent for approval, we have the approval entries, and this is where you approve or reject. And you can also view the records. We have the workflow user group, we have the approval user matrix, we have the designations. So this is the code. So you can see the designations that you can assign to staff. You have departments, you can click departments, you have the banks. These are all list of banks. You have the countries. So these are all list of countries. You can add new country, for example, here, say JP, say Japan. So, and you can register. Then you also have cities. So you click a city, you say here KTL. So this is Kitale. Then you select the country and you register the city. So that is how it is. Then you have the system codes. So these are codes that helps us to actually categorize certain modules and certain that is options. So then you also have the system code details. So if you go to system code details here, for example, you will see something like male. You see here male and female. So the system code for this is gender, and you can see it has grouped male and female. So that's simple as that. Then you have the system settings. I think we had not done much on that. Now today, I want us to add a few details on this application, and we are going to concentrate more on employees. So on our employees, if you come and say view details, you realize that we have this information about employee, we have the number, first name, all these details. But apart from what we see here, we need to add specific details of the employee. And the first thing that I want us to do is I want us to add documents. So you realize that when you are storing employee details, when you create a new employee, we have the employee photo, but there are also certain documents like the passports, like maybe certificates that we need to be storing. So I want us to design that. And the way we are going to do it, I'll stop my application, and on models, I want us to create a table called, a model called employee document. So I'll create a model here called employee documents. So this is our model. Then on this table, the first thing is we inherit user activity. So our user activity has certain important fields or properties. One is we have our created by, this is the user who is logged in. We have created on, modified by, and modified on. There's also approval activity if a record needs approval. So, but before we go there, I want us to create the properties for the employee documents. So let's see, we have the ID, employee ID, and this is a foreign key. So if it's a foreign key, we'll just do public employee, then we say here employee get set. Then we have the document name. We can also have the file path. Say this is a file path. Then you also have a document type. So we have document, so this we can call it int, document type ID. Then we can have this from the system code details. So this should be a foreign key, and we can call this document type. Then I don't encourage you to store that is bytes in the database. So as long as we have the path and we have a folder where the document has been stored, then we don't need to store this. So then file extension, that's fine. Then we can have the file size, and also we can also have the file type. I'll just have my file type here. So I'll say file type. So after doing that, then we can also have uploaded. You can say uploaded date. This can be date time. Date time, we say here uploaded date. You can say upload date. You can call this upload date. So this will be upload date. Then we also have do you have anything else that we can add? Let's have also expiry date. There are some documents that maybe expires. So we can have your expiry date and can be nullable. So then we have your expiry date. So we have our expiry date there. So this is our employee document. So we'll be storing all the documents that we have here. And once we have that, then we need to add it on our application DB context. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to come here, and we can say here, let's just have it down here. So we can have it here, and we say this is employee document, and this is employee documents. So that will be our table. Remember, once you do that, you need to add migrations. And to add migrations, so I want us to add migrations. So here I'll just go to tools, NuGet package manager console, and we are going to say here add migration. So once we add migration, then we can say employee documents. Press enter. Then once we have that, it will create our migration file, and we are going to add that now to our employees section. So let's just wait and see if our migration file will be generated, and we should be good to go. So there we go. There we go. So you can see we have our employees documents. We have a table called employee documents, and all these properties will be created. So to effect these changes to the database, we need to run another migration command. We'll do update database. Then we'll have our database. So if we go to our database, let me just close all this. Close all. So we have our table called employees management. Then we'll have a new table now. So let's just refresh. So we'll have our employees document. So this is the table that we just created. So it has this employee ID, document name, file path, document type, extension, file size, file type, and all these now. But now I also want us to add another thing. So what we'll be storing on this particular table will be documents related to employee, which are like national ID, photo, passport, CV, academic certificates, and even the contract. But also for an employee, they have next of kin. So you're going to create another model called next of kin. And here also we are going to inherit user activity. Then here we have certain properties. So we'll have ID. So these are foreign key. Then you can do full name. Relationship, we can have relationship ID. Then we'll be having a lot of relationships. So you can do int. So this is also a foreign key. So you can say should pull from system code detail, and this should be relationship. Then you also have phone number. You can say here phone. So I'll say here phone number. So this will be phone number. Then we have email address. So email address, and then we can say here we have can have occupation. So here that is fine. So the next thing that I want us to do, we now have this. So we can also add it to our application DB context. So we'll just add it here. Then this is our model. So this will be employee next of kins. So we'll have our table here. So as you'll see, we need to do another command. So I'll just do that. Then you can say this will be our employee next of kins. So add migration, and then we should be able to follow. Now, let's see how that looks like. So we should be able to proceed and also add another section. So we've now created the employee documents, the next of kin, and you can see here we have our migration file. We have the next of kin, ID, employee ID, that is employee ID, full name, and all these details. So the next command is to just update database, and that will give us a new table in our database. So the database will now have another table. So let's just see. So you should be having the employee next of kins. So let's see if all goes well. So you can see it as created, and these are like SQL statements. So you can see here we have the employee next of kin, and these are statements that you can just execute on the server. So we have also foreign keys and all that. So if you go to our database and you refresh, then you should see we have next of kin, and we have these tables. We have ID, employee, full name, all these properties that we just created, occupation, email address. So this is where the data will be stored. Now, there is another thing that I want us to create related to employees. So I also want us to have a contract. So to capture details related to contract. So I'll just come here, create another model, and this will be contract. So when an employee is created, we should be having their contract details. So one thing is we should have the employee ID, then we have the contract title, that's fine. Then contract type, so we say here int contract type ID. So contract type can be something like permanent. So here we'll do here system code detail, and this is a contract. So these are foreign key. Then we have the start date and end date. So that's fine. Then we should be having also the probation period in months. So you can say here, so this is the file part of the contract. So that's fine. But also we should be having the probation period in months. You can say probation period months. So this can be nullable, whether they don't have a probation or something. Probation period in months. Then we can also have, we can indicate here the salary. You can say here decimal. And here we can say salary. And so this should be decimal. So that is how you do it. Then we can also have here currency. So here we should be having currency type. So it's a currency type ID, and this will be currency type. These are foreign key. Then we can also have here, can do a string. Then you can say terms and conditions. You can say terms and conditions. Terms and conditions. So terms and conditions. Then we can also, so here we can say contract file path. So I think those are the main properties that we can have. Then we can also indicate whether the contract is active or not. So you can say here bool, can do here bool. Then you can say is active. So we have that is active. Then we can have this on our application DB context. And then here we can now have our contract. Let's say employee contract, and these will be employee contracts. So then we can access that. The next thing to do is to add migration, as we've been doing. Then we can add here, you can say add migration, then you can say contracts. Sorry, you can say here contracts. And these are employee contracts, employee. Then press enter, then it will generate our migration file. So let's just wait. Then we need to add our, update our database. So our database is updating. So you can say here update So that is our migration file was generated. So you can say here update database, press enter. So if you're watching our series and you've not subscribed, just consider subscribing, like our video, and also comment down below. So tell us what you will want to see on this application and we'll be happy to provide. So as you can see, these are our migration file has been created, and you also have here, you can see here we have employee contracts. So we have the table. So this is our table. Our table is being created, and you can see here all these properties. So if you go to our database and just refresh, we'll get to see our employee contracts and some of the properties that we have. We have all this, so that's fine. So the next thing that we need to do, I want us also to create another table, which is an employee history. So assuming an employee is promoted, transferred, or there are some salary changes, then we need to track the history. So what I want us to do is let's go to our application. Then I'll just create a new class. I'll create a new class here. So I'm going to call this employee history. So then on our employee history, we can have here user activity. So here user activity. Then we can have various properties. First is the ID, employee ID. Then we can say here position. So there are certain things that can change. We can say here, int. You can say old department. An employee can be moved from one department to another. You can say here old department ID. Then this one will be, we can also have, let me just do here, department. So these will be, these are foreign key, old department. Then you can say here new department ID, and we can have here a new department. Then we can also have a designation. Assuming you change a role, you can say here all designation ID. Then here we'll call this designation. Then we'll be having here old designation, a new designation ID. So I'll close this, new designation. Then you'll have this designation, and then this will be new designation. Then there is also a change type, which can be salary, related to salary. So you can say here decimal, assuming there was a change in decimal salary. So you can say this is old salary. Then you can also have new salary. So new salary. Then I want us to add something called change type. So here we can say change type ID, and this should not be nullable. Then this will be from the system code details. Then here we can say here change type. But now this change type can be something like promotion. You see, promotion, demotion, transfer, salary change. So those are some of the change types that can be done. So what I want us to do again is let's just go to, we can also add here, we can say this is effective date. Then we can also have can say here string. We can have reason or remarks. Can have reason for the change. So that is what we are doing. So this is employee history. So this is the reason for the change. Now we can add this to our application DB context. So let's just have it here. So I'll just copy this and you can have it here. Then this will be employee histories. So we'll be tracking all the histories about an employee, and we'll be able to see what they are doing. Now, these employee histories, we can add, let's add our NuGet package manager console. We can transfer those details. So you can add migration, and then we can call these employee histories. So if we just do that, press enter, then we should be able to see that. Now, let's see. So if you're watching our series and you haven't subscribed, just consider subscribing, like the video, and also comment down below. Now, let's see how this looks like. So our migration file is being generated. And as you can see, this is where, so you have our employee history. You have the properties here, the ID, all department, and all that. So we are using code first approach. So I'll just do here update database, and you should be able to see our table called employee histories in our database. So let's just see how that looks like. So if we go to our table, let's just wait to see if it's done. Then we should be able to move and check our details. So our table is being created, as you can see. So here we have our create table, employee history, and we have these properties here. Then if you go to our database and just refresh, we should be able to see a table called employee histories. And this table, we have the employee ID or department, the change types that can be done, and this is our main table. Now, I think we've covered most of the changes that we'll want to have. The next thing that I want us to do now is we need to create our application to ensure that we are able to capture all those values. Now, if you go to our app, let me just launch our app. For those who are new to this series for the first time, you should be able to see how our app looks like. So this is how our app looks like. And as you can see, we have our clients, we have our employees. So here, when you're creating an employee, this is our page. So you should save these details, but also you should include adding the other details of the employee. Now, if you go to employee details and just click here and say view, then you should be having the tabs here at the top, indicating the employee details and also all those information that you've just added. Now let's just go to our menu, our views, then employees, then details. So this is our details table view. So you should include now areas to specify the details about the employee. So we should now add all these tabs for our employee, next of kin, profile, and all those details. Now I want us to do something here. So if we check our profile, this is how it looks. So I want us to add the tabs. So here at the top here, I want us to add the tabs. and I'm going to do here div class, can do md12, then we can close this. So I'll just minimize this, and I can copy and paste this here. Now I want us to introduce tabs here. You can call the ordered list, nav tabs. Then you can say ID, you can say employee tabs. Then you can say here role tabs, tab list. Then you can close this. Now we can have our list of tabs. So let me zoom in. We can say here class nav. This will be nav item, and inside it we can have our, we can start by having a button. Let's say button class. So we can have here class. This is a class. So here you can call this now link active. Then you can say, let me stop this. You can suggest for us, you can say data yes toggle, and we are going to call these tabs. You can also have your database, can do target. Then you can call it, maybe the first section you can call it profile. Then this one you can have it as a hash profile. Then you can close it and you can call it profile. So this is our tab. And then we will just minimize this. You can minimize this, but here I can introduce div class. Can do here class. Then I can say this is tab content. I can do margin top 3. Then I can close this as well. So if I format this, I can close this. So if I format this, so this is how it looks. So let's just relaunch and see how it looks like. So let's relaunch our app and see how that looks like. So this is our app. So I want us to go to employees. Then on employees, just view on employee details. So you can see here we have our tab. So we have our tab here for profile. Now what I want us to do is I want us to add tabs for the various sections. So you should be having a tab for, so here you can copy now this, paste it here, and that will be, you can call it, this target here, you can have it as documents. Then this one you can call it documents. Then we also have another tab. You can have a tab called next of kin. So you can call this NOC, and you can call this next of kin. next of kin. Then we can copy the same tab, and we can call it contracts. So call it contracts. Then these will be contracts. So let's just remove this. Then we have also another, copy this, and also we can call it something else. This is the history of an employee. So we can call this history. Then you can say this is history. Then these tabs, we should remove the active. So one tab can only be active at a time. I'll remove that. I'll also remove, so this will be active. So if I update or reload, then check our app, we should be able to see that. So you can see we now have documents, next of kin, contracts, and history. So we should now be able to have that, but we need to also specify the tabs. So if we go to our page, we have the div class content. So I want us to add another thing here, call this div class. Then we can say tab pen. Then you say here fed show say here show, you can say active. Then you say ID, this should be ID. You say profile. Then we close it here. So if we close that, so everything here should be falling within this particular tab. So let me format it. I'll just do that. Now, if we close this, then that will be that one. Now, inside this, we can do another div class. We say tab pen. Then we do fed. Then we can have ID. You can say here this is documents. Then inside here we can just have a table. Let's just have a table. I can call this table class table bordered. Then you can say table sm. Then I can close this. You can have your table head, then table row. Then for each table, you can have the table heads. You can say document. So this will be document. Then I can copy this. I can have it down here. Then I can say type. You can also have another one here. You can say uploaded. Then I can say here we can have expiry. Then expiry. Then we can also have action. But for now, I can just have here my table body, because we've not pulled any data. I'll just have my table row, and I can have table data 1. So the values is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can have these 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can have those there. Then if I close this, I think I need to close it here. I need to close this here. Now, it's fine. So you can copy this, and then we can also have another one for contracts. So we just do this and we say this is contracts. Then you can also say this is contract type. This is a contract. Say type, you can say this is start, end. That is fine. Then you can also have history. So I'll copy this and I paste it here. Then you can have the ID for history. Then we say change type, then old role, new role. Then you can say date. Then we are cool. So if I format this, let's see how it looks like. So if I just launch our app, we should be able to see how that looks like. And let's just relaunch our application. So this is the app. So this is how it looks. So we go to employees. Then we can open one of the staff details. Then you can see we now have our tabs here. So if I click documents, so it's not clickable. So as you can see, our documents are not clickable. So we need to address that so that whenever we click, so it's able to show what we have. So let's just go back and check. So we have our profile. This is our profile. Then we have our documents. So you can see here we have so this is the issue here. You say data. We have data. This is data. This is data. This is data. Then we also have database target and database toggle. Just ensure we don't have misspelling. Then we have documents. We have contracts. We have history. And you can also add next of kin. I think we missed next of kin. Should have added next of kin somewhere here. So I'll copy that. Then here I'll do NOC. Then for NOC I'll do here name. This is a relationship. Then phone number. Then primary. Just check if it's the primary, then that's fine. Now, if we relaunch again, let's just see. So you should be able to navigate on both tabs to see how that looks like. So let's just relaunch our app. So there we go. So if we go to employees, details, then documents, next of kin, contract, history. So our tabs are not clickable. So let's just see if that is okay. So So before even we go there, I want us to check something. So if we check here, this is our button, nav link, data, yes, toggle, tabs. You can change this. You can say this is nav. You can have this as pills. Then you can say here, now these are the chart tabs. Then you can say MB3. Now, for this nav link, you have our nav item. You have data. This will be, you can say pill. Then you have our database profile. You can also add a style here. Say icon, class, BI, person. Then I'll do that. We can have this in a span. There we go. Now for the next one, we can say nav link, peel these documents. I can also have these as I class, BI file, YAMAC. Then I can close this and I can say here span, and I can have my documents there. This should be span. Is also span. Now let's also check our next of kin. This is nav peel. Then I can copy this. If I come here, this should be BI people. Say here people. Then we'll be having this as next of kin. That's fine. Then contracts. This is contracts. Can have these as class, BI file, text. Then if we close this, we do a span, then contracts. Our history, you can say this is our history. I can also have here, can say this is a class, BI clock, history, clock history. Then we can have our span here. There we go. Now can close this. So if I update my app, I should be having some new updates. So you can see this is how it looks. So if I click, then you can see our contracts are now moving. So you should see documents, profile, documents, next of kin, contracts, and history. But now I want us to add some styling. So I'll go to, so we've given these as HR tabs. Now, if we go to our application, under www root CSS, I want us to add another class, CSS class here. I'll do new item. Then I'll choose style, and then I'm going to call this custom.css. So there we go. So here I'll just have my style. So let me just put in some styles that I have just to save on time. I'll put in there. These are styles for my tabs. Now, after doing this, I need to go to my layout. So that is to include my styles. I'll go to shared layout. Then here, I'll just include my, I think we had custom style assets. I see. So I'll just copy this. I'll go to assets. Then we had done, I think we had custom styles. Assets, CSS. We have custom styles. So I'll just paste it down here. Then I'll format. So I can remove this other one just to stop confusing. Then if I relaunch our app, our style should be factored. So this now, let's just go there. We have our application here. Go to employees. Then I'll just go to details, and you can see here we have our tabs. So we have our navigation here. So if I just do that, so you can see this is our tabs. Now I think I can just, let me just go to our details again. I think we can remove, this is span profile. Is there a need? Let me just remove this span here. I see how it looks. There we go. Next of kin. So we update that. Let's see how that looks like. So I need to space it. So I need to space the tabs. It looks so we have here our profile. So I can come here and say nav HR tabs MD3. Then here I can say gap. Can do 3. Let's see how it looks like. So there we go. Let's see, we do 4. I do large 4. Just want to space it. Let me just do that. The issue with profile and history. So this is profile. Now link data, view data class button, history, Let me remove this. Now, if we go to the styles, I can add something on my HR tabs. We can have a style here. I call it. I just want to make it clean. So if I format it, so this will be, let me just resize it. I just want to, let me just paste it. It has moved away. Now, if we go to our application details, where is it? Details. There's something we've missed here. Add item, nav link, active. I think this is the one that is. Let's see how it looks like. Okay, so you have it there. So I'll have my data, BSPL, BS target profile, and this is our profile. Then we have also history. Now I want us to, I think we can work on the can work on this as we go along. But now, sorry. So if we check on our styles, so let me just come here and comment this tabs here. Let me just remove this. Then we see how it looks like. So you see how it looks like. So if we check here, let me refresh. So we check on the tabs, you can see how it looks like. So I might want us to style it to look to have it as cards. So this one, so I want it to look as cards and appear separate. So I think it's a styling thing that we'll do, but we can do that later. Now, what I want us to do now, let's go to our application. So when you come to documents, Next of kin, the contracts are history. So for documents, we need to have a button. So you can see here, this is the details. But for documents, we can add documents from this section. So I want us to do something. So you've seen the way we've been adding here details. So we also need to come here, and for documents, you can also say this is employee documents. Then we also have to say this is employee next of kin. So we need to specify the next of kin details of the employee, and also, so here I'll say next of kin, and you can say this is contracts. So this is employee contracts. Then we also have here employee history. So we'll say employee history. Then I think that's fine. So if we update it, then our app will look something like this. So if we come here, you see our employee documents, next of kin, contracts, and history. But as we go, you can see it is actually moving down. I don't know why. So we'll be able to see that. In fact, we can separate these tabs to be individual pages. But I want us to do something. Now, let's go to our employees here. I want us to go to our employees section. Then I want us to add a new razor component, a razor view. Then you're going to call these employee documents. So that is it, employee documents. And we can even have it as yes, we can. I think we can separate it. So let's just separate it here. So what is it? Employee documents. So you can copy a list. For example, this one for employees. I can copy this and I can have it here. So these employee documents, I can come to index, and on our view model, we have the employee details. Then we can add more. So you can see here we have the list of employees. So I want us to add some few more. So here you can say employee document. So this is the view model. Then you can also say here document. Then you can have a list of documents. You can say this is documents. Then we can also have next of kin, employee next of kin. We can say this is next of kin. Then we can have our list of next of kins. You can say employee next of kins. You can also have the history. You can say employee contract. You can say this is a contract. A contract. Then you can say this is a contract, and this you can say employee contracts. Then we can also have history. So you say here employee history. So we are having it in a view model. You can say this is history. You can say this is history. Then this is employee histories. Then that's fine. Now we are going to use now this employee view model. So we'll just copy what we have here, and we are going to use it for our employee. You can see these employees documents. Then, as you can see, for employees documents, we are going to have can say a document, and I want us to annotate with some things here. You can say this is display, and we can say here employee name. You have your document name. Document name, we say here file path. File path. You can also have as a document type. Say document type. Say this document type. Then you can also have your file extension. Then we can call this file size. This is file size. Then you have the file type. Then you can say here uploaded on. Then this will be expiry on. Then, because we've done that, we can go back to our documents, and I can call this document. So we check on our table. We can see we have the employee document name, document type. So here we can say dot document type ID. Then here we can say dot file type ID, file type. How did we add a file type as a string? Yeah, this was wrong, but it's okay. Let's just leave it. We'll change later. So you can come here to documents. Then you can say here documents dot document name. I can say here dot created on. Yes. So let's remove all this. Then here we'll be doing documents. Then we'll be having, there will be document type dot description. This is documents. What is the next? Is the file type. Say file type dot. I think that is fine. Then you have document name, and then you just have uploaded, created on. So that's fine, and we remove these others. Then we have the buttons. Yes, we have actions. Now, remember we have our employees list. So this action that you see here. So this is employee documents. So if we go to our controller, we should be able to get. So I'll just say employees. Then here you see these details. So you can paste something here, and we can reuse the employee documents. We supply the ID, which is the employee ID. Then you say here file. So this should be underscore employee documents, then document type. Then we can say here what other thing do you need created by, and then here we can also do modify employee. So since we have this, then here we can say where dot employee ID is equals to that. Then here say dot find first or default. Now this will return. You can see here, we can say this is we can have this as we can have this as employee view model. You can say VM, then you'll say here vm.id, and this is vm.id. Then here we'll return our VM. Then if we check here, if we go to details now, I want us if we click on the documents, it will take us to this is our root. So here I want us to change these links. So you can say here a class nav link payroll. You can even have something like this. Say here SP action. We say this is our action, and then you say here SP route. Then we say here ID. Can say at model dot ID, and then we can have that. Then this one on our employee control, I can have something like this. Let's see. Then here where is on our details, so we have that, and I can have this as so let's relaunch and see if we can navigate. So let's put a breakpoint here, then we see how that looks like. So let's relaunch and see. So here we go. So I'll go to employees, then details, so documents. So if I click document, so you'll realize that we have our ID 2 and we have our view model. So our view model, you see it has the ID 2 as well. So if we proceed, you can see here we have our employee documents is null. Then it will return for us our view model as well. So let's see. You can see it says employee documents. So I can see here Here you can say get, and also what I want us to do is I want us to say here, instead of this, you can do here documents, employee documents. Then this is, you can say here to list. But now these to list of hours, we will say here new. And here it is telling us does not contain, this should be to list async. To list async. Then here this will be here, you should say if that is not, should actually proceed here, should not return not found, should take us to the list directly. So let's just proceed. So let's just go to our page, employees, view the details, then documents. Our ID is 6. If we proceed, our documents is 0. So you can see we have our list of employees here. I mean our documents here, it doesn't have anything. So if we go back, I'll just reuse what we have, and I want this to be a card. So I can come here and I can paste this here, and I'm going to close it again here. Then I can say add new document. Add new document. Then here I can have H3, say employee documents. So if I update, so it's still going there. So you can see we have employee documents. But now this is if we click here and see, so I'll show you how we can have our tabs going through all those sections as we go along, so don't worry. So we need to have add new document. So I want us to add a new document for an employee. So I'll say add new document, new view. So we'll have our new view here, and you can say new employee document. You can say add employee document. So since we have that, so I'll copy one of the page for create. This is how it looks like. Then we can reuse it. I'll just copy this. Let me copy this. Add new employee document. I'll paste that here. Say add new document. Then our model will be having here view models, and this is employee view model. Then you can say here add new employee document. employee documents. Now, if we check on the properties for documents, we'll have document name, file type, all this. So I want us to can say the first thing is the document type. I think let's have a drop down option, so you can even get it from what we have here. So this is our drop down option. So the first thing that I want us to have is our document type. So here we'll just say I can have here, I can go back to our view model, then everything on the employee documents, I can copy it and I can have it outside, can have it here. And as you can see, I'll remove this. I'll remove this. I'll remove this. Now, I'll say here, I can say here document type. This is document type, and this is also document type. Select documents, document type. Then we need document type, then document name, a document name. You can have it there. Then this is text. Then we also need what else do we need? Expiry date. So here you can say expiry date, which is nullable. File path and all those I think we don't need. Now those are the main things that we need. But now the next thing that we need is the file. I think I'll call this, let me add another property on our view model. I can call it documents. Can call it attachment. Call it attachment. So then you can say here attachments. Then here I'll come here and say here this is attachments. But now this is attachments, and we can borrow what we've done here. For example, when you're attaching a photo, something like this. So on the document, I'll just paste this here. Then you can have here. For the accept, we can say PDF, PNG, and all that. You can say this is attachment. Attach. Then you can say this is attachments, employee attachments. So then you can say this is upload attachments. Upload attachments. Now we have this here. Now there's one thing that I want us to do. You see, when we are editing, we need to store some things. For example, these ones. And we can have it here. Should be within the form. So if we have it here, then we can have our ID, created on and created by, and even we can have the employee. Now, after doing that, we need to have this action. So I'll go to controller and we can borrow one from the, you see this, so you can borrow one for us, so you can have it here. This is HTTP get, and the name should represent the view. So this is the view. Then for drop down, so these ones I'll remove them. I think you only have one drop down, and the drop down name is called document type. So we'll have this as document type. Then I'll remove this. So let's try again and view our page. We should be able to view the page and see how that looks like. So let's just launch. There we go. So if we go to employees, then details, then click on documents. That takes us to the page. So if I click add new document, so this is now where things are going wrong. So it should now take us to this add new document. So if you go to employee documents, you should change this to add new document. And here, I think this is now where things get good. So here we are expecting on our controller, we should be expecting our view model. So I can say employee view model, and I'll say here VM. Then I'll also return my view here. So let's just proceed and see. So let's relaunch. So if you are watching our series and you haven't subscribed, just consider subscribing, like the video, and also comment down below. Tell us what you will want to see in this application, and we'll be happy to provide. So you'll just go to employees, then view, then documents, and move. That takes us to the employee documents. So if I say add new document, so you can see this is a new document. But now there is one thing. So the document type, you can see it is showing the contract types, which is not the case: expiry date, document name, and also the attachment. But now what I want us to do, we need to go to system codes. Then I want us to create a general group called document employee document types. Then these will be our employee document types. So this is what we are going to save and ensure that we are providing some of the document types that we are going to use. Now the first one, so we can register this, and if you search here, we should see we have our employee types and created by, you see this is the name that I'm using, the account of the user. So there are some key information that I want us to add. So if we go to system code details and new, we can select the document types. You see we have it here. Then the first one is national, it's called national ID. Then this is national ID. Then you can say this is the first one. I can also come here and say passport, and this is passport. So The ordering is, I'm using order number just in case the client wants you to order in a certain format, not be now the data was saved. So you can say here resume. So you can use this in case they want you to reorder. You can just use that to order based on what they want. Then you can say academic certificates. Then you can say here academic certificates. Then I can also come here and say tax. Maybe you're providing tax documents. Tax documents. This is 5. So if you go to our create, now I'm going to use the system code that we just added. So we just go here, you'll see our employee documents here. So I'll just come here and put it here. So let's just edit it. I think it's looking bad. So I'll come to here and I'll say you can edit this. You can say this is employee documents. Then this will be employee document types. Then I can call these types register. And if we refresh on our table, this is small now. So let's go to our code and we can update it here. So if we just relaunch this, we should now be able to see all those values. So let's just relaunch. So I'll go to my employee details document. Then I add. So you'll see now I have my national ID, passport, resume, academic certificates, and tax documents. Now, let's see if we can save these in our application. So if we go here, I think I can reuse what we had done in our employees create. Check on the create action. So this is it. So I can just copy this. And if you check on our employees add document, I can paste it down here. So I can say this is submit employee document. I can call this submit employee document. So I'll need the employee VM. I can call this VM. Then the form, a document is being uploaded, so it will come with that document. So the name of that document is this employee attachment. So I'll just save it here. Then you can say I don't need this, so I don't need the mapper. I don't need this. I am going to check the photo if the photo is there. Then I'll say attachment. Then I'll take the name, but this case I'll take the VM, then documents name. Yes. Then I'll check for the photo, and this is the photo. So I'm going to save the photo on this path. So the file settings that you see here is actually part of what we had done. It's under this is the location. So in case you want to save this to a file server somewhere, then you can do that. Or else you can also integrate this to SharePoint. So in case you want to see how that works, then stay tuned, subscribe to our channel, and we are going to provide those scenarios. Then here, I'll just come here and now do VM dot document name. Then what I want us to do now, I'll just come here and say variable emp document is equals to new. So I'll stop this, equals to new employee document. Then I want us to provide, so we'll say document name equals to that, document type equals to that, employee equals to that, file extension get from that, file size, that is it, document file type, that is it, file path, we are getting that, uploaded on, expiry, do you have any other thing? No. So, and we close it here. Now, after doing that, we need to add our document here, and we are going to save. So we need to also save based on the user. So I'll just take this, and I'm going to save it. I don't think I need this. Now, I'll do here. Then this user ID, you can get the user who is logged in. So how do you do that? So we have it here. And I want us to update that. For the, yes, we had the created by, created on. So you can do this. You can do here created by equals to that, created on equals to the timestamp. You don't need the status, and I need this user. So I can call this user. Then I can supply my user ID here. Then I'll say employee document attached successfully. Then it will redirect me to index. Now, this should be ID. So let me just put a breakpoint here. So then our submit. So I can come here and say this is the submit. I can say enc type. I'll do here enc type, then form data. Then let's see if we can attach a file. So that's one thing that we need to confirm, and we should be good to go. So I'm launching the system, so we can see here we have our employees. I'll go to one of the employee here, then documents. So let's remove the breakpoints. I'll do that. Then we have employee documents. So if I click add, so you can see I need to choose my document type. So I'll say academic. Then I can say my first document. My first document. Expiry date, I can put this. Then I can choose the file. So I can upload one of the file. Then I can say upload. So you can see we have our upload. This is our model. So you can see I've created by, this is the user who is logged in. Created on, you have the timestamp. Document name, we have the the document name, and also we've assigned the document that the name of the document that we provide. The document type is here. The path, you have the path, you have the file extension, and the file type. So for the file extension, I think we missed something. We missed something here. So I can come here and do, let me just do this. I can come here and do this. Then you say here, this file name. So that one will save us. So let's just proceed. And relaunch again. So we'll just go back, check on our employee details, click on view, then documents, add new, select here, say this is my first document, provide the expiry date, provide the name, and upload. So we check on the model, we have the created by, that is it, the document name, we have the expiry date, the file extension, the path, the file size, the image, the employee ID. You see here, this is now where things are going wrong. So we should be having our employee ID here. So our employee ID should not be null. And you can see that is null. So our VM here, what is wrong with it? You can see here, we don't have our employee ID. So if you check our documents, if you check our document, add employee, you are able to save this here. So you should also be able to supply. You can see it could not save the document. So let's also supply these details. If you come to our add, our employee documents, we don't have anything here. So let's try again and see. So I'll add, sorry, we go to view details, documents. So this view model here, it has the ID too, but also, so that is the employee documents. I see. So here we should get here employee documents. You can say SP. So we check on add documents. So this is what it does. So I'll come here and I can say SP root ID. Then you can say this is model.id. So if I do that, I can come here to to our controller, and I can say this is int id. Then I can say here VM variable VM equals to new VM dot id and can also do something like this here. Can do something like this. So this is ID. This should not be null. I can say variable employee equals to this. You can do here sync await underscore context at employees dot find first, so find a sync dot where is the where can do that. If this equals to null, then we can say here task. Can do something like this. Then you can say here employee number. So here you can do even this dot id and also this dot employee number. Then we return that. Then we should be able now to submit. So let's relaunch and see. So if you're watching our video until this particular point and you haven't subscribed, just consider subscribing, like the video, and also comment down below. So let's relaunch that. So we should go to employees, details, documents. I remove the breakpoint here. Then I'll say add my first document, then select, then upload. So here we should be having our employee ID. So you can see we now have 6. So if we proceed, next, so you can see employee document attached successfully. So if we go to our table, we should get our employee documents. So you can see we have the data here. You have the employee ID, document, path, document type, extension, file size, file type, upload on, expired on, and all that. Now, I think for today, we are going to leave it there, and we are going to proceed with this particular episode in our next series. So if you're new to this channel and you haven't subscribed, just consider subscribing so that whenever we are starting the stream, you will be notified. So that is it, and see you in our next episode. Bye.